Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Midwest Whitetail After Hours podcast, presented to you by Hoyt Archery. My name is Jason Science. Today is November the 4th, 2021, and I am joined by Mike Reed, Max, and Jared. How's it going, guys?
Going well, man.
Great.
Well,
What's been going on out there?
That's what I want to know.
Yeah, that's been good. There's a lot of deer dying right now. It seems like it's that time of year. I know we've been going hard at it.
Yeah.
How was your last few days in Missouri?
I left. So we did that podcast, and the next morning, after the hunt, I left.
Dang cattle just scared him right out of there.
No, I decided to go where I killed last year, and it was a good hunt. I ended up having a nice, I don't know, probably 4-year-old 10-pointer come in front of me, and quite a few different does and fawns. Just the foliage in there is just like, I don't know, 70% more than what it was last year. And anyway, I just happened to catch one of those times when I was standing up, and I caught movement, in my peripheral, and I could tell it was back here. So I slowly turned, and I could see, without turning very far, that it was a giant coming at me. And I slowly looked back, and I'm like, well, there's no way I'm going to turn the camera on this thing now, because he's on a beeline right at me. And I automatically recognize it as this giant 8. He's just his G2s are like 27 inches long. I mean, he's huge. He really is huge, and he's coming right at me. And I'm to the point where he stops at like 20 yards, and he's kind of looking up the hill towards me and just kind of looking around, and I'm sitting there waiting. Is he going to go left of the tree, right of the tree? Which way is he going to go? So I'm kind of doing one of these, and he ends up coming right to the base of the tree and stops right underneath me, but behind me. So there I stand. I don't know which way to turn because I don't know which way he's going to go. And then I heard him sniffing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh no, because my thermals were just, the wind was right in his face the whole way. And a combination of ozonics and the thermals did the trick until he got to the base of the tree where I'd set my backpack just off to it wasn't right at the base of the tree, but a foot off or whatever. I'd set my backpack down there to tie. I don't remember exactly why, but anyway, he he snorts and takes off and runs about 40 yards and stops, and I'm just in awe. He's a beautiful deer. And so I did draw back, and when I drew back, I felt something odd when I drew back, but I didn't do anything with it. And then I kind of started to cry after he left and got over that. And I thought, I'm going to pull my bow back again. So I get my bow about 2/3 of the way back, and something on my jacket hits my release, and it's a hair trigger on that spot hog, and boom, my arrow goes like, I don't know, archery golf. So it was a combination of that. I wasn't too sore about that. I mean, just stuff happens, and deer do what deer do, and I just had so many real estate things blowing up. And a combination of that and not having any internet service to be able to take care of those situations, I just said, I got to go home. So I went home. So I've hunted, so I left that day at noon, which was Tuesday or Monday? Tuesday, I don't remember. What is today? Thursday? Would have been,
Mm-hmm.
it would have been Tuesday morning. And so I hunted Wednesday all day today. I hunted till about 12:30 and had to get going. But I haven't seen except for one chase is all that I've seen. Last night I saw 30 does and fawns, all of them in range. I nearly killed a buck that I'm so glad that I didn't. Yeah, that was another just complete debacle. I think I'm so turned inside out about just getting it done. I don't know if any of you have ever been in that position or not, but you just get over anxious and if I can figure out how to share my screen, I will show you guys absolutely what not to do when you're sitting close to
I've been waiting for this.
close to a trail. Okay, here we go. Tell me when you can see the screen.
All right.
You ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
Are we good? All right. So see the nice turkeys? That's some great B-roll, right?
All right.
All right. Let's leave it there. What is that I hear? Oh, crap.
Oh,
Oh man.
I mean, right under you. What just happened?
I completely like bleated at him. I wanted to stop him because I wasn't sure how big he was. I just knew he had a good frame, and I didn't want to shoot this. He's got maybe 1-inch fours. But instead of, and I'll try not to do it too loud so it doesn't blow everybody out. Instead of taking it easy, I come to full draw and I'm like, "Mah!" and he turns inside out and takes off. And he gets he gets to like
his leg. It looks like he shot at it.
he
just
gets
yelled at him.
Grenade went off somewhere near him.
exactly. It was like a nuclear bomb. Anyway, and he gets about 25, 30 yards away, and he's in the brush, and he just stops, and he's like, "What in the wide world of what is going on?" And he stood there probably for a few minutes, and then just sort of walked back towards me, and I'm like, "I'm not going to shoot you." And then he just kind of walked away. He just wasn't sure what in the heck happened.
Yeah, the
I
trees
would've
were
been-
yelling at him.
I would have
Putting
been
way
dying
too much
laughing at
pressure
myself
on
in the tree.
You're putting way too much pressure on yourself. Might as well carry an air horn with you next time.
Oh man.
That's awesome.
Anyway, so that's pretty much been, even though that happened, I'm glad it happened because when I got a chance to look at him through the binos, I'm so glad I didn't shoot him because I didn't want to shoot him. But
That's a good, sweet little. He was close.
yeah, so I set that stand up prior to leaving because that pinch that I'm sitting in, that you'll see me sit in a lot, is in between two lakes or ponds, whatever. They're pretty decent sized little lakes, and it's about 150 yards wide with some real wet stuff on the west end, and on the east end it's real good hardwoods, and they love to travel through there, except it's pretty open. So I have a stand on the east side of it and a stand on the west side of it, and I just threw up the west side of it, the stand on the west side prior to leaving for Missouri, because I looked at the weather coming up, and I knew that we were going to have some west winds, and it's a hard place to hunt without a west wind, and there's not a great tree to put it in, so I'm kind of on a telephone pole, but it's such a huge oak tree that I'm in. You can kind of disappear in that tree as long as you're not silhouetted in the sky or something like that, and typically they're coming right at you. So, but I didn't. Of course, there's 4 trails through there, and he came on the one that's absolutely the closest to me that he possibly could have. But anyway,
You didn't
I
adjust your volume.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a lot of rutting activity. I mean, normally, you see year and a half running around with their nose to the ground and up from there, and I haven't really seen a lot of that. Like he was just sort of like going for lunch, you know.
I've started to see
Man,
a decent amount in my hunts. I think 2 or 3 mornings ago, I had a good, just kind of classic rut morning. A lot of cruising bucks and chasing. Rattled in 3 different bucks. So it was good to see. And then this morning, had the first like all out chase on a hot doe. She had 7 bucks in tow.
Oh
Oh,
my
wow.
It
God.
was one of those times where you were like, just I do not want to be a hot doe in the rut because you almost felt bad for her. I mean, she was just getting ganged up on. It was, and they were on her hard, but it was so cool because they were all chasing her through through this woodlot, and 2 bucks just run side by side, kind of pushing each other off, and 2 of them spun on a dime and just hit antlers like just almost mid run, like running side by side and turned and hit antlers. Went hard for a couple of seconds, and then got right back on the trail to try to keep up, but they were going all out, and the doe was just exhausted. She was doing everything she could to get away from the group. So it was really cool. The unfortunate part is my cameraman double punched for the entire thing, so I have 0 footage
Oh no.
of the best part of the morning. But we've had a string of bad luck on that this year for some reason.
It never
Yeah,
happened.
why don't you touch on that one? How many, as a company, how many cameras are we down now?
Oh gosh, we've had some camera casualties. We've had, I think, 3 double punch events this year. But anyway, it was good to see that. That's what we live for this time of year, is to have a hot doe come by like that. Unfortunately, there weren't any shooters in that group of bucks. There's one mature buck, and he wasn't a shooter, but it was still cool to see that.
Man.
People, when you're talking about the rut, conventional wisdom would say why there should be a mature deer there.
Right.
But that just tells you that more than one doe is hot at that point, right?
Yeah, well, the thing I was most surprised about, yeah, and who knows where there could have been a hot doe, further in the woods that we didn't know about. There was another group of bucks on, but what was crazy is, this is the farm we own, and I didn't recognize a single one of the bucks. And granted, a lot of them are small and don't really pay attention to some of them, but there's so many bucks on that farm that we know, and there wasn't one, of the 3-year-olds we know, or 4-year-olds, or 5, just not a single buck we recognized was on this doe, and right in the middle of our farm. It was just kind of crazy, but
Wow.
they could be anywhere. There could be another hot doe, or they could just be cruising somewhere else that they didn't get on this trail yet. This was like at about 10:30 in the morning. I think we probably had went like, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes without seeing a deer, and then the chase broke out about 10:30.
I feel like you sometimes wonder if it's one of those things. I saw it a few times last year, traveling and filming. I definitely saw it on more than one occasion where you have like a big chase take off. And as long as I could see that doe for a decent period of time, as soon as it all kind of finished and whoever kind of won out of that chase kind of stuck with her, then it seemed like every time then here comes an actual shooter or a big boy. Just like, I don't know, it's almost like they just stand back and let that happen. And
I kept watching, staring in that direction, hoping. There's one other buck that came, and he did not lift his nose more than 2 inches off the ground the whole time we watched him. Just nose almost flat on the ground like a dog. Just it was cool to watch that.
And if you sat there all day,
I know
it would just keep going.
That's what I said in my interview. I said if I was smart, I would not get out of this tree right now. If I was smart and I didn't have anything else to do, I would just stay in this tree. But it was cool to see that. That's just what I've been dying to see.
Yeah.
As we get into November here.
Yeah.
What's your weather been like, Jared?
It's starting to warm up. We've had a good little stretch here, but starting today and then the next few days is going to be a little bit warmer weather. A little bit a little bit higher than our average temperatures, probably 60 to 65 degrees. We're in a little south wind pattern right now for the next few hunts. So we'll see what that does, but it's also going to be a time of year where weather is a little bit less important. Less of a factor. You just never know this time of year. It's more comfortable to sit when it's cooler weather and it feels good and it gives you more confidence. The air felt real heavy this morning. It was cloudy. It was nothing like it was yesterday. And I was like, man, I don't know how well the deer are going to move in general, but we saw a ton of deer this morning. So
there was a big difference.
Didn't affect much.
Difference between yesterday and today. It felt like, just felt yesterday was crazy. It just felt right. Like, man.
Well, we had 3 days of like super high pressure and north winds and cold weather, and then it switched to the south yesterday, and boy, you can feel it. That's for sure. And I don't think we get north again until Monday. I didn't work. I didn't get to hunt today. I worked all day, and in fact, I just finished working at about 8:30, trying to catch up from taking days off. But Jason, man, when you say that you're not seeing like that rut activity that you'd expect to see, like the young bucks moving, I was just complaining to Jared. It's probably the best way to say it. On my home farm, I sat there 2 days ago. I saw a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old like within the first hour of the daylight, and then nothing else. And sat there till noon, and I'm like, man, it's November 2nd. This is just ridiculous. And I switched farms, went down to our river bottom farm, and had a pretty good hunt in the afternoon. Saw some chasing, and didn't have a whole lot come right in bow range, but saw a 4-year-old and saw a deer sparring and kind of just chasing back in the cover. And, it's interesting how it might change farm to farm. I mean, our deer numbers are much higher on the river bottom farm than on my home farm. And, deer go searching off somewhere and you might not see a deer for a few hours. Yesterday, I had probably the best day of hunting I've had this year. I sat the river bottom, saw a big 6+-year-old 8-pointer right to start the day off, deer I know. And we had constant activity till noon. Beautiful high pressure day, no wind, great thermals on the rise, and just tons of deer activity. I mean, I saw, I think 9 different bucks chasing and just running around, and it was an awesome hunt. And then I made my move to the home farm in the afternoon, try to make another sit for chubs, and ended up seeing chubs yesterday afternoon. It was our first time to really encounter him out in the open. I go sit the bottom turnip plot that is the most recent area I've had daylight photos of him, and look up on the hill about 300, 400 yards away. It's a cherry tree set, but I can see the top of the bean field. And at 4:40, he comes over cresting that hill, and he's just cruising. And there was a little buck coming across us at the same time, so he was kind of looking at him. We're supposed to have a wind, and unfortunately last night with this change in the weather, the wind was kind of going every direction. I was hoping low winds and thermals would keep us safe, and kept getting a little bit of east in it. And I think he smelled us at one point, but it was sort of interesting. He kept looking over at the farmstead where the guys were mowing the lawn, and you can see in the video, it doesn't totally capture what happened, but he kept looking over that way, and then it looked like he might have caught a whiff of us at some point. He was really confused. He wanted to come down to us, then he started to turn, go back up the hill, then he started to come back down, and then he went back up the hill, and he was not sure what to do. But I thought that light wind, and he was actually above us on the hill. This bean field hill is really, really high, and so it seems like our wind wouldn't go back up the hill with the thermals and everything. But anyway, he got out of there. I think the closest he was probably 175 yards. Really cool to see him. He's a great deer. Nice to see him on his feet. I got home that night and got some cell cam photos later, and he was actually in the food plot that we hunted on at 1:15. So he had walked basically right under the stand at 1:15 and was just cruising all around. and it was coming back our direction. So, yesterday was just really good for overall rutting activity. The morning was really solid. The afternoon was good. Obviously, seeing our target buck, and then right at last light, we saw probably 6 or 7 does, a couple small bucks chasing around. But up until yesterday, I hadn't hardly seen any of that.
I've heard, I guess that geographically, if there's some distance in between farms, I mean, just the DNA of that farm could be different. Because oddly,
or even, it's hunt to hunt, even, even on the same property. I hunted the same property that I hunted this morning, saw a ton of deer this morning, saw the good chase, a bunch of cruising and rutting activity. And tonight I sat over a bean field and watched it, a decent amount of deer, 10, 12 deer, just feeding the beans like nothing was going on. The does weren't being bothered. There wasn't, little bucks were just feeding. Like it was night and day, and I was just a few hundred yards from where I sat in the morning. So, at this time of year, it can be hunt to hunt. You're kind of in the game or you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yesterday morning was, real high pressure for us. Really, really crisp, like 24 degrees. Beautiful morning, no wind, and I chose to sit where I don't generally ever sit, or haven't ever sat before. It's a new stand for us that we put up this year, and I don't think I saw more than a couple deer. I had one buck come under me before it got light, and then switched to that pinch that I was talking about, or that bottleneck, whatever you want to call it. And just had deer after. I mean, it was just a constant flow of deer through there. But honestly, the like I said earlier, the movement was really going to this 10-acre cornfield that we've got as a food plot that we have. We just leave standing.
Yeah, my hunts were. I had a 3-day stretch of unbelievable hunts, and then today was horrible. I saw 4 deer all day, and I was out until 11 o'clock this morning, and then got back in at like 3. But I had a I think a 3-hunt stretch of just some of the craziest hunts I've had in Iowa. That farm that Grant had that really cool encounter on a few weeks ago, with that big alfalfa field, there's a tree that sits way up on a hill, and you could see, oh my goodness, I mean, you can see like probably 200 acres worth of country. There's a cut bean field that just has a ton of beans still standing on the edge and all throughout where the bean head just must have missed them. And then you're looking over that like 20-acre alfalfa field, and I bet I saw 40 or 50 deer. I took a decoy with me. Because the tree I was sitting is like, I mean, off the alfalfa, I'm 100 yards to the closest port in the alfalfa, and I'm way in the middle of nowhere. So I took a decoy and hoping that I could, if I needed to, I can call. And I saw 6 or 7 different bucks, and had probably one of the coolest encounters with a super old looking deer with the decoy. He comes like up over this rise where I didn't think any deer would come from. And he hops this fence into the cut bean field, and he didn't see the decoy until he'd already hopped the fence. So by the time he hopped the fence, the decoy is probably 10 to 15 yards from him, and he just puts the brakes on. And I was like, well, this is about to be terrible. Like that is not how I wanted that to work out. So he just kind of just looks, and I bet 7 or 8 minutes went by. He never moved a muscle. And all of a sudden, I don't know what decided to change, but he pinned his ears back and blew up. And I filmed him snort wheeze 9 times in a row at 15 yards. And in between each snort wheeze, he would clear an inch or 2 deep worth of dirt off the ground. I mean, I've never seen one this pissed. It was the coolest, by far the coolest encounter I've ever had. I mean, I chose not to kill him, and I could have killed him 100 times, but the most epic. I cannot wait to show this footage. I mean, it's just crazy. Like, I filmed a pretty good one before of a snortweeze, but the vocals, like it was just dead calm right before dark. And it was like, every time he would do it, it just would almost like, it would just put chills up your spine. It was insane. It was awesome. I
That's
mean,
awesome.
I wish it would have been I saw
And that close.
yeah, I mean, 15 yards. I saw 2 shooters and didn't, well, of course, those are the ones that worked in, but I came off that hunt. That was 2 evenings ago, and switched it up. I had some pretty good stuff happening on the cameras down at Grant and I's farm down south. And so I made the drive and got in early to a stand I've never hung before. And following the best encounter of the year the night before, I was probably 5 steps from killing, I mean, by far the biggest deer of my life, hands down. It's crazy. I'll show you the picture. So last year we had a pretty good span of pictures of this deer. We call him the flyer buck because he's got a big flyer off the side of his right side. I mean, he's a giant.
Yeah.
So we had him last year pretty good. And then this year it's one of those deer that we've just been waiting and waiting. Like, where's he at? Where's he at? Where's he at? Still no pictures. Yesterday morning, I got in the stand that I never sat, and 4 does just come blowing through. Sure enough, dude, he is right on him. And he singled 1 doe out of that group and more or less kind of quartered her in up against the creek, and then this tiny little patch of woods I had him between 20 yards and 50 yards. I had him for like 15 minutes, at maybe 20 minutes, and multiple times crossed through lanes, and I couldn't ever get him to stop. Yelled, screaming, trying to get him to stop, whatever.
Yeah.
The amount of the trembling didn't stop until I don't even noon, and that was at 8:30. I mean, I was like, draw it down. I mean, I was playing an accordion in the tree. I mean, it was but I mean, he's probably put on a few inches. He lost that flyer, it looks like, but he put on. I mean, he's a giant. And coming off that hunt, I mean, it was just insane. And then I go back in today. I barely slept the night before. I'm just too pumped, and saw 2 deer all day. But there was a huge change. It felt like it happened. Even on my cameras, those 2 days of north winds, high pressure were crazy. And then today was slow. I know there's deer moving. I saw a bunch driving, but
Was it windy by you guys?
I had actually a pretty consistent winds today. Like there were winds out of the south, but once probably 8 o'clock in the day winds kind of got up. They were very consistent. I liked them. I like having that 10-mile-an-hour breeze you can count on. But
Right. Tomorrow we're supposed to have, I don't know, 25-mile-an-hour gusts.
yeah, same for us.
Yeah, so I'm going duck hunting in the morning.
There you go. That's what I should go do.
Man.
If the other ones are burned, you need some more.
Duck hunting on November 5th.
Yeah.
Golly.
What
Instead,
kind
I'll
of
be
podcast
stuck.
is this?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I said, what kind of podcast is this?
I know.
Less waterfowl.
My boss is making me do it because I'm the only one with a dog. So, I said no this morning. So you can talk to him about it, Jared.
I'll send him a text.
Yeah.
Oh, anybody else have anything exciting happen?
I don't think so. Just got to be out there right now.
Right.
Are you going back tomorrow, Jared? Somewhere?
I think so. I need to see if I have a cameraman or not in the morning.
Grant's dying to go. You can't, I'm sure. Heck,
Yeah.
Are you going in the morning?
Yeah, Allie's brother's he's dying to go. I don't know. I might take him. I don't really have anything great on any of these farms for a south wind, but I've been hyping them up. It's kind of cool. Like I was more or less self-taught in all of hunting for the most part, but especially bow hunting. So it's cool. I got somebody, it's my girlfriend's brother, and he's wanting to get into it, and he's asking a ton of questions, and it's just, I feel like a jerk just trying to explain it to him or telling him how crazy the hunts were. So I think I may have to take him in the morning and just hope to have one of those epic hunts. It's cool. It's been a while, or it's maybe the first time in my life I ever got to like really introduce somebody. So it actually gets me pretty dang excited. It's cool. It's a different thing.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's awesome.
Getting introduced the first week of November, that's setting the bar high right there.
His first hunt ever, he saw 3 shooters. There's 3 shooters for me. I mean,
Yeah.
so I don't know if we can top that, other than the guy blowing the whole thing in his Ranger. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I go back to the river farm, I need to make sure someone with me has a peg and a bow. Gavin,
That's
who phoned
right.
me today, said he because he had 2 shooters for him come by this morning. He swore he would. No, he said that he goes, I swear I will never go back to the river farm without my bow again.
Oh,
the deer he wanted to shoot walked by at 15 yards or something, just broadside 15 yards.
That's like multiple hunts in a row. He forgets to bring it.
Yeah.
Did he really
I've
forget
seen-
it?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't forget. We
Right.
didn't talk about. We talked about it the day before, and then didn't think about it again. But this buck, we call him what do we call him? Rob. We call him Rob. He's
What do we call him? Right.
I've seen him
Rob
five out of 6
Bob.
hunts. He's like a 6-year-old 8-pointer. I've seen him 5 out of 6 hunts. It's crazy.
It's unbelievable.
What time are you leaving in the morning?
Get on the road. Let's go.
Yeah, right.
Seriously.
I've got
Max
another.
said he was going to shoot him until his last few days of hunting. Now
Now I know.
Now his bar just got moved up too.
It'll go back down tomorrow. After today, after not seeing I saw this today, and that's it. So my bar has dropped again. It goes up by 20 inches on a good hunt and down by like 40 on a bad day. I'm ready for I might shoot a big one of these.
So hey, I've got a question. If we've got just another minute here, whoever wants to take it can. What type of decoy do you take, and when do you take it? Obviously, it's going to be a whitetail decoy.
Yeah.
But buck or doe, and what is the timing of the? How do you decide when to take which one and in what situation?
I'll start. I don't personally have much experience with Doe decoys. I own one, but I just never really use it. So whenever I take a decoy, it's almost always a buck decoy. And I think it kind of lines up with I think we've talked about the calling in the past. It kind of lines up with the time period of when calling is good. From that late October time frame and into November. I mean, I think you can have success with a buck decoy, in pretty much all of November. Like I said, I'm not going to speak to Doe decoy just because I don't have a lot of personal experience with it. But I like using buck decoys in the right situation, and for me, the right situation is an area that's a deer will see it from a long ways. It's not going to get surprised. I think Max's case that he just discussed is kind of rare for a buck not to react negatively by being surprised by a decoy. So ideally, it's in a pretty open setting. The other key for me is a spot where I don't think I'm likely to encounter a bunch of does. So if like I have a plot or something where a lot of does are coming out early, that's a situation where I just don't like having a decoy, because usually the does are going to wreak havoc early on. They're going to come check it out, or smell it and blow at it and whatever, and ruin your chances early. So I like to use a decoy in a spot that I don't expect to encounter a bunch of does early on in the hunt. So that's kind of my technique with the buck decoy.
Anybody use Doe decoys?
Yeah.
I just put mine in my front yard to get traffic to slow down.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not heard of many people using a Doe Decoy. I did have success with it a long time ago. When I was filming for somebody else, I brought it along and we stuck it out on this open CRP field where the CRP grass was pretty low, and this buck turned on a dime as soon as he saw it. We got his attention and he just marched right in, and the guy never drew his bow. He just watched it.
I bought my first Doe Decoy last year when I was hunting that Big Ten deer that lived in that CRP. There wasn't anything around to really get close to them, so I did buy a Doe Decoy to just try to help out, but I never ended up using it. But I could see a situation like that making sense.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think even that spot that I was in, I mean, it happened to be a buck decoys. That's all I had, but I think the way that I saw all those bucks, they were just running everywhere. And I think if you just give them like something, I mean, heck, I don't even know if you actually had to doe bleed. You could just probably just clap and get them to stop. But like you said, as soon as they see it, it's like those bucks I was watching the other night. It's like they'd come to the crest of a hill and then spot one and be a mile off, dead sprint.
Really?
It was wild. I mean, it's cool. This is my first year ever using a decoy. I've had it. And I don't think in Georgia the decoy is about 17 times the size of any deer I was ever hunting, so I never used it. But
Reminds me of your college days, Max.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm still learning every day how to use it. Like heck, I had to Google which way to face the dang thing the first time I used it, but I'm learning every day about the decoy. I like it. It sucks having to carry that thing in, but it is. Anybody who is curious to try it, I would say try it, man. It is fun watching them respond to it. Even if, I mean, I guess it's negative sometimes, but it's cool.
Especially in open fields. I mean, it makes sense.
You putting any scent with it, Max?
No, I didn't. I'm not even a big like scent killer guy. That's what was it. One more thing I got to carry. Actually, no, I think actually when I had that,
Max smells good.
Yeah, when I had that encounter, I think I actually had one of those little balls of is it Scrape Fix or something? Mm-hmm. I think I puffed it on the tail or something. I don't know. I wing it. Every hunt I go on, I just wing it. It's like
getting
a tree in the middle of a 900-acre cut bean field, and here comes a dang mature deer. I don't know. Maybe I'm lucky.
I'd say that's the case.
And Scrape Fix.
Yeah.
That's your secret.
Yeah.
All right.
You just sold a bunch of that, Max.
Promo code. Hopefully there's a kickback. I'll put my Venmo in the description.
Anybody got anything else they want to add?
No. I'm working tomorrow. I won't be out till Saturday, but good luck to the other guys.
Yeah, I'll be out tomorrow. Hopefully by noonish. I've got that duck hunt in the morning, and then I've got to get some real estate stuff done, and hopefully can get in for the afternoon. I think I'm going to go right back to the same spot that. The only reason I'm sitting there so often is because that's where Gombe's coming through. I guess I've got 19 cards here to look at that I pulled today, but that's where he was coming through for the entire month of October. So.
Is that the technical difficulties you were having at the beginning of the podcast? You were looking through SD cards.
No, I was
19's a lot.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna be a skeleton.
Slowing the computer down.
Yeah, no, I was trying to adjust my monitor and I yanked the power cord out of it. So then I had to restart it. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh man, good stuff.
All right. Well, we'll do this again in a couple days, and hopefully we've got more exciting stories to tell, and I'll try to lower the volume when I'm stopping a deer.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck to you guys.
All right, guys, we're out.